Hello. In this clip from our Justia webinar, Expert Witnesses and Artificial Intelligence, Jim Robinson discusses what we can expect regarding the usage of AI in the future regarding expert witnesses. If you'd like to see more Justia videos on law practice and legal marketing, be sure to subscribe to our channel.
One of the most important things that an attorney can do is to find out whether or not a particular expert has been challenged in Daubert. Daubert was a case that came out back in 1993, a U.S. Supreme Court case, which established the standards for when expert witness testimony could be admitted. They set up various tests regarding admissibility. It's kind of dovetailed onto the Frye standard, which is more of a general acceptance standard, but really laid out as to when an expert could and could not testify, whether the testimony would be admitted. Certainly, if you had an expert witness who had been denied and not allowed to testify, you would want to know that. So we've asked ChatGPT, how many times has Nachman Brathbauer faced a Daubert challenge? And it responded, determine the exact number of times Dr. Nachman Brathbauer has faced Daubert challenge requires a thorough review of court records and legal database, as these challenges are typically documented in case filings. It did advise down at the bottom, without actually giving a response, to go see something like legal databases like Westlaw, Lexis, or Pacer to try and find that information. And it's a good enough time to talk about Westlaw as far as their expert witness materials. They have something called Westlaw Edge, which it can help with. It's an advanced version of Westlaw that incorporates AI to improve your search results, and they have information about expert witnesses. They claim that they have about 600,000 testimonial documents regarding expert witnesses. So that's Westlaw. Lexis has their own AI incorporated version of expert witness materials. They're Lexis Advanced. They have their Context. It's an AI-powered tool that works within LexisNexis that analyzes judges' decisions, provides insights on how judges have ruled on specific issues, what language they prefer, they claim, which is a little tough to believe, but they can base it on what documents they have. And as far as expert witnesses, it analyzes expert witness testimonies to predict how their testimony might be received in court. So it's another tool that attorneys can use to do that type of information. Going back to our Daubert challenge, we asked Perplexity the same question, is how many times has Nachman Brathbauer faced a Daubert challenge? And it says the search results do not provide a specific count on how many times Nachman Brathbauer has faced a Daubert challenge. However, several cases mention challenges to his testimony under Daubert standards. So again, these are just ones where they said that there was a challenge. It doesn't say whether it's successful or not, but it does point out a couple of cases. For those of you for this very important part of researching an expert witnesses, I very much suggest that you go and check out Daubert Tracker. Daubert Tracker researches Daubert challenges dating back to 1993. It uses about 165 gatekeeping authorities, state, federal decisions, rules of evidence, administrative hearings, very detailed, and it provides detailed responses in this case about Nachman Brathbauer and his various challenges. And again, this does not mean that Nachman Brathbauer has been knocked out of cases or limited his testimony. There were just challenges to it. But you can click through and you can see this is the write-up on that particular case, that you can see who the parties were, what the results of the matter were. And if you really want to deep dive into doing research on expert witnesses, I certainly recommend that you check out Expert Witness Profiler. That will do virtually all of this work for you. That it will go through and give you detailed reports. And for those expert witnesses who are listening in on this, I very much encourage you that you run a search for $400 or $500. In fact, a full report's $495 to see what information's out there about you. Okay, so now we're going to turn to some specific uses of AI regarding different things such as expert witness depositions. One of the things, again, that AI can do is it can provide you a list of questions to ask at a deposition of an expert witness. So in this case, the prompt was act as a plaintiff's attorney and provide me a mock deposition of a defense toxicology expert witness in a water contamination case. And it went through and did this. And it's amazing. It does this in moments. That it's set up that the plaintiff's attorney was representing the residents. The expert witness, Dr. John Smith, was a defense toxicology expert. And in this mock deposition, the court reporter was recording the information. And it went through and it's set up like you're reading a deposition. Now, again, this isn't the end all. And you could break it down that if you wanted to give me 10 or 20 questions regarding his background in toxicology, where he got his PhD, what his focus was, his specialty, one could do that. But you get an idea that you can do that to start preparing your outline, especially if it's a field that you don't know as much about. Another great thing that a person can do is they can upload a deposition transcript to a service, a large language model like ChatGPT, and you can ask to provide a deposition based on that expert's CV. Same type of format, but this time it will go through the different aspects of that CV and break down into questions about it. Here we uploaded an expert CV about, as a now departed William Gutzler's CV, but you could get information about or questions to ask him as if it was in the deposition. And again, this is the types of output that you get. Let's start with your educational background. Could you please state the degrees you've earned and from what institution? And again, this will give the response based on the document that you provided, that he earned his PhD in industrial technology from Ohio State, 1973, and so forth. There's a number of other tools that you can use to prepare expert witness deposition questions, case texts, co-counsel. You can be used to design questions. It can give you legal standards and case specifics. It can analyze and suggest relevant questions. Again, more information about co-counsel, and it says specifically on there, it says prepare for a deposition, get a thorough deposition outline in no time, describe the deponent and what's at issue in the case, and co-counsel identifies multiple highly relevant topics to address and draft questions. So that is Thomson Reuters version of it. ChatGPT, and this is one of the greatest things I think about ChatGPT and large language models, and that is the ability to summarize. That you can take something like an expert witness report. Here we've uploaded the report, and it can go through and it will summarize it, and you can it can summarize depositions, it can summarize reports, it can do summaries on that. People have reported that it's not as good and so forth, but it's a start. And if you certainly want to go through and double check, you can ask it to be very specific and just give me page sites to where you got that information. Again, the object of narrowing. For those of you, especially who have more complex cases or a lot of documents in a case, creating your own AI, your own data set through something like Reveal or Logical for Smarter Than, I think I spelled Logical incorrectly there, that you can upload your information, then you can run your searches against it. It's a pay site, so you can do it as a pay-as-you-go. You can do a subscription on it, but that's a way. Reveal Logical is a way that you can get your own data and run searches off of that. Talking about expert witness reports, same types of things same types of issues that come up is you don't want experts. If you're an expert witness out there, you don't want to use LLMs for your actual work product. One expert who responded to our poll said, an expert colleague of mine is adding this disclaimer to their reports. Generative AI tools were not used in this report content or record interpretation. For those who are expert witnesses and listening in on this, it's not a bad idea that you want to make it clear. And if you're not going to put it on your report, at least make it clear, because you can imagine that could be an area where a person could get tripped up on. Of course, credibility is everything for expert witnesses. We talked about summarizing expert witness reports, that you can upload the reports. And here I asked it to be specific regarding their page numbers, so I could double check to see if it was an accurate interpretation, accurate summary of it. And this was the output. And again, double check it. But this is a really good start on this. It could save a lot of time. And we uploaded the expert witness report. But of course, with all of this, and the common refrain is to be careful. The one expert who replied back said, I asked ChatGPT to provide a synopsis of various position statements that I had compiled in a 150-page PDF, and ChatGPT inserted 2 references from organizations that were nowhere in the source document. It even explained the contents of their alleged position statements, but they don't exist. It was very disturbing because the content it generated was very believable and could easily have been accepted as fact. So again, we have to double check our work. And I do think that that is great. It's smart at ChatGPT to put down the bottom of every search result. We make mistakes. Take their word for it. Again, we talked about deposition questions you can generate from reports, that you can upload reports, and you can get a list of questions with references to it. One of the best descriptions, I think, of something like ChatGPT or any of the generative AI LLM models is referring to it as a fallacy finder. Greg Siskin in his webinar referred to this concept, the fallacy finder. So in this case, I uploaded the expert witness report and put this as a prompt. I want you to act as a fallacy finder. You will review this expert witness report and be on the lookout for invalid arguments so you can call out any logical errors or inconsistencies that may be present in the expert's statement and conclusions. Your job is to provide evidence-based feedback and point out any fallacies, faulty reasoning, false assumptions, or incorrect conclusions which may have been overlooked by the expert witness. And indeed, it did just that. Again, it's not the end all. We're going to do follow-up questions. We're going to drill down. We're going to double-check our work, but this is pretty good. So, for example, reviewing that report, it found that there were some overgeneralizations. There was a false dilemma created. There was an appeal to authority that should be double-checked. Again, just with a simple prompt, we got all of this information. A lot of the expert witnesses talked about that they used something called Grammarly. It's a digital writing assistant. It helps with putting together documents, analyzing your grammar, your word choice, your sentence structure, things like that. But one of the things that's really interesting about it is it's also can assist with plagiarism detection. So certainly that could be something that can be used, Grammarly and other AI services like Turnitin, I believe is how it's pronounced. It's used largely for students to go and, for teachers to go and see if students have plagiarized their responses. But it can be used certainly to run through an expert witness report to see if there is something that's cited that they have just copied and pasted from another source without attribution. And they have pricing plans can be based on per report, per student. They also have something that is pretty fascinating to see how it works is AI paraphrasing detection. So it's not just if something was verbatim copied and written down, but whether or not it was close enough to be paraphrasing, and again, given without attribution. Of course, since credibility is at the forefront of an expert witness, if you find out that an expert witness has been liberally borrowing different text from someplace and making it as if it's their own, that could hurt their credibility. So other tools that are used by expert witnesses, and indeed, and speaking to the number of experts and reading the replies back from our poll, they said that they use AI in some pretty interesting ways, beyond just using the ChatGPT and Perplexity and Grammarly and some of those others. One of them talked about that they use something called, I think it's pronounced Cynthia's, not sure how the pronunciation of that, but this is an AI-powered video generation platform that you can basically correct, you can build videos just on text. You don't need to have a whole lot of upload. You don't have to be really that well-tuned as far as video editing, that it'll do the work for you. Again, this is a pay per site. But if you did want to make a presentation, and again, it's a good start, and you can modify it as you go along. One of the other experts talked about something most of us are familiar about, but don't know that something like Photoshop is now enhanced with AI. And the way that this expert pointed out that he used it was he could take an existing photo, upload it, and then ask Adobe Photoshop to say, how would this be different if we were to change the contents of the photo? And so in this case, this involved a question about whether this road had sufficient clearance and visibility for people who are walking on the side of the road. And could it be changed? Could it be altered? Could it have been altered so that there wouldn't have been an accident on this road? It uploaded this picture, Photoshop did with AI. And if you look closely, you can see that there is a car that can be seen, that the road has been changed slightly, that's been curved more, and these people who are standing on the side of the road would have access to have seen this car coming, and indeed, the car would have been able to see those people standing on the side of the road. So we'll end our presentation with kind of a threshold question for where do we go from here? Could AI replace expert witnesses? There's certainly been a lot of talk. There's a few articles that has been written about this, about what will eventually be the state of AI in terms of expert witnesses, and could it be someday that expert witnesses don't exist at all, that we just run whatever query it is, whatever case facts we have through some sort of large language model or other AI tool to come up with what is the probability that this actually happened the way it said it happened, or these were the factors that went into it. But really, I think, at least at this stage, it's unlikely. It certainly, it helps, AI helps with efficiency and imitating cognitive abilities, but it fails to get nuance. It fails to get tone. It fails to get sarcasm. It fails to get things that go into us as a human person. It can't perform site inspections. It can't talk about hands-on patient care. It's something like with the medical field, there's so many nuances with it that it's unlikely it's going to happen. There's bias, of course, with AI tools that eventually it trains itself on the type of information that you're putting into it. And like all of these AI models, it still depends on data. So I think it's definitely something that is going to assist in working with expert witnesses and expert witnesses themselves using AI. But the dependence on AI and the fact that whether it could actually replace doesn't seem likely. So the conclusion, I want to end with one of the best quotes I thought that I got from one of the experts. And it said, using AI for expert work is roughly equivalent of giving your 9-year-old child your car keys and credit cards. Maybe it'll turn out okay, or maybe it'll turn out really badly. There's no way to know. But one thing we do know for sure is AI is here to stay. And the best time for experts and legal professionals who use experts to try AI tools is at the exact same time as the right time to plant a tree. And that's 2 years ago and today. Thank you very much.
Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did enjoy it, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more videos on law practice and legal marketing. See you in our next clip.